All right, so in this video, we're going to go through sample question 91 from the Society of Actuaries ExamP list of sample questions. The question reads, an insurance company insures a large number of drivers. Let X be the random variable representing the company's losses under collision insurance. Y represents the company's losses under liability insurance. X and Y have this joint density function. We then calculate the probability that the total company losses is at least 1. So when we're given a density function of any kind and asked to find the probability, natural instinct should be, all right, we got to do some integration. Great. So we're looking for the probability that the total loss is at least 1. So the probability that X, the losses under collision, plus Y, losses under liability, greater than 1. And that's equal to double integral of f of x comma y. I'll do dy dx. You could do dx dy and you would get the same answer. Right? This is just what order I'm integrating in. So we need to just figure out what our actual boundaries are, right? Because we already have the joint density function 2x plus 2 minus y over 4. So a diagram will typically help us find those boundaries. Let's draw a graph. Here's our y, here's our x. We're told in the question that x goes from 0 to 1, right? So 0 here, 1 there. Y goes from 0 to 2. And here's the thing. We are looking for this, the probability x plus y is greater than 1. Another way of writing it is y, the inequality y, greater than x plus 1. Okay? So I'm going to draw a little boundary here because that's the upper limit for my y. Here's the upper limit for my x. And I'm going to graph this line. Right? This line starts at 1 when y is 0. And, sorry, it starts at 1 when x is 0. And it goes all the way to here. Okay? And we're concerned with anything above this line. So the area we're looking for is this. By this weird green color. So let's look for dy dx. Okay? So I'm integrating my y first. What is the lower limit of my y values? Well, my lower limit should be this line here. Okay? And I go all the way up to here, my upper limit. My lower limit is y is equal to x plus 1. So, x plus 1, it should be, ooh, look at that, very careful. It should be y is greater than 1 minus x. That's the line y is greater than 1 minus x, so the lower limit is 1 minus x. I knew that looked weird. And I go all the way to 2. All right? Now, here's the thing about bounds of integration. I'm allowed to have variables here as long as those variables exist on the outside of my integration, right? I can have an x variable in this integral as long as there is an x somewhere else, like there's another integral involving I integrate with x somewhere else on the outside. However, this integral out here cannot contain the variable y. So how do I figure out now my bounds for x? So now that I've figured out I'm kind of somewhere here, I go from here, my lower bound is 0, and my upper bound is 1. Okay? Once I actually do the first integral, I'm ignoring this line. So I go from 0 to 1. Now that my integral is set up, I actually do the integration. So I kind of see a trinomial here. That's going to be easy. Not a trinomial. Well, it is 3 terms, but I kind of see an easy way to break this up. 0 to 1. 1 minus x to 2. 2x over 4 is just 1/2 x. 2 over 4 is just 1/2. And negative y over 4 is just a minus 1 over 4 y dy dx. Okay, now this is going to be a lot easier to integrate. So first I'm integrating in terms of y. I will get 0 to 1, 1 over 2 xy, right? I'm treating x as though it were a constant, plus 1 over 2y minus 1 over 8y squared. And I'm evaluating that from 1 minus x all the way to 2. And this is going to be equal to, plugging all of these in for the upper bound for y. This simply just becomes x plus 1 minus 2 squared, 1/2, minus the following. One over 2 x times 1 minus x plus 1 over 2 1 minus x, and then minus 1/8 1 minus x. I'll have to write it below. Okay, so I'm going to simplify that on a new page, right? So all of this is going to be equal to, make sure I'm in frame, right? Integral from 0 to 1 of x plus 1 minus 1 over 2 minus 1 over 2x plus 1 over 2x squared minus 1 over 2 plus 1 over 2x and then a minus a plus 1 over 8, and then that whole thing is squared. So that's going to be multiplied by a plus 1 plus x squared plus, minus 2x. If you want to skip ahead, go ahead. This is just kind of you watching me do algebra. 0 to 1. And now I'm taking the integral of 5 over 8x squared plus 3 over 4x plus 1 over 8. I should probably start doing, anytime I notice there's a lot of integration, I should probably do these out beforehand. But I think it's kind of nice for you to see me solve these out the way you would actually solve these out on an exam. Okay, so what do we have left here? Okay, this is kind of an easy integration now. 5 over 24 x to the third plus, what's going to be in those brackets, plus 3 over 8 x to the second plus 1 over 8 x, and that goes from 0 to 1, which is just 5 over 24 plus 3 over 8 plus 1 over 8 equal 2. Grab the old TI 30, and that becomes 5 over 24 plus 3 over 8 plus 1 over 8. 17 over 24. And that's 0.708. Rounds to answer choice D. Okay, so let's go through what happened here. Half this video is just you watching me do some integration. But what was the first half about? The first half was about setting up the integral. Why? Because we're given a density function and asked to find a probability. If you have a density function and need a probability for something that's continuous, you're most likely going to need integrals. You're almost 100% going to need an integral. So, what do we need for the integral? The actual joint density function, which we were given here, and then the bounds of integration. How are we finding those bounds? Well, we drew out a little diagram. We decided, okay, I'm going to do dy dx. So, what are my limits for y? My lower limit is this line here, right, which is 1 minus x, all the way to my upper limit of 2. And then, once that's done, limits of x, 0 to 1. If I were to do dx dy, my limits would slightly change, right? I would go from here, my lower limit of x minus 1, to an upper limit of 1 for the inner integral, and the outer integral would be from 0 to 2. Okay? If you have any questions, anything you want me to clarify, throw it down in the comments below. I'll answer to the best of my abilities. And if you have any desire to look at more of these videos, I have a playlist. Check it out. More sample ExamP questions. And if this video helped you out, hit the like button, subscribe, because that totally helps me out. But other than that, good luck. Thanks for watching.